Hi, welcome back to FutureFast. And today we have a guest. The introduction of it will look like I'm introducing multiple personalities here. So before I get on to doing it, for those of you who are here for the first time, FutureFast is an effort to bring people who are doing things which are bound to have an impact on the future. And the whole idea of bringing on to this conversation is to understand how are they approaching it, and is there a way we can take some tips potentially we could apply on our own businesses or life. Having said that, I hope you've been enjoying the podcast that we are bringing and the people we are bringing to you, and you will enjoy this conversation as much as I'm looking forward to doing. And with that, we have Deepak Thimaya, and most of you who are from Karnataka and India are already familiar with that name and the face. For the rest of the audience, Deepak is a TV personality, he's a writer, he's an actor, he's a filmmaker, he's a theater personality, he's an educationist, he's an entrepreneur, uh, he's also a political analyst, and perhaps we'll also see him in a political role in future. Have I left out something, Deepak? So,
But calling me
oh, he's also a painter. He's also a
okay,
painter and
yeah,
a brilliant painter at it.
and a poet.
And a poet.
Anyway,
Okay.
but I actually think that all these things are not exclusive to one another, because I think all these things are, you know, related. Because like I sometimes, even when I talk about the Renaissance man, so I think art is not removed from life. Science is not removed from what do you say, philosophy, and like how math is related to physics. To I mean, you should be able to. I think Indians basically are generalists, not
Oh,
journalists, generalists.
oh,
In the sense,
I'm sorry
we
to
look.
cut you there, but see, that statement perhaps goes to most of us. But see, there are very few people who are accomplished in each of these areas, right? You are an accomplished personality in each of those areas. Well, most of us perhaps keep doing it.
Yeah, because I think that's what I hear, but I still don't feel that I've done enough in any one of them. Of course, I've done television for more than 26, 27 years. I've been a journalist for even more time, because I've been a journalist since I was 17, because I used to edit a newspaper when I was 18. It was a district level newspaper, but I used to edit it because of some reason the newspaper fell on my lap, and I had to take care of it. And I had to also officiate as the publisher for a while at 18, 19. And then I got into theater, because theater also I used to train students when I was 16 myself, from when I was studying in PU in a college in Kozhikode. For 2 years I studied there, and I used to go during my break to teach in a school that was close by. And in fact, I directed the whole school day, performance for that school. And I did not take it very seriously at all, because I thought these are things you should do if you know how to do it. That's all it is, because it's not like you're young, you're doing it, or you got an opportunity, how lucky you are. Nothing. It's like anything is a job. For that matter, like when people ask me, for how long have you been teaching? I say, for about, 37 years now. So people ask, are you so old? But I say, I was teaching when I was 12, because I love teaching, because I didn't like the way my teachers taught me. So I wanted to, experiment with teaching. So I would find this opportunity in my village school where I would go and teach, because in government schools those days, I don't know if it's different, or maybe that school was different, but the teachers were busy chatting, and they just were about three teachers, and they were very happy if I ever went to that school, and because I knew English, and they would allow me to teach in the class, and I was a good teacher, and I also like to boss around with those children, scold them and all, but I had this pleasure of seeing those children learn something from me. And that perhaps also spurred this interest in teaching. And thereafter, when I came to Bangalore, I started these teacher training programs. Now I've written a book about teaching and learning. Teaching has been my passion throughout my life, and I've always wanted to be a teacher. But because, unlike what it was in the ancient times when people were respected for being teachers, it's not that case, because things are very different now. Like in some cases, people become teachers not because they want to become teachers, but because perhaps that's the job that suits them the best. Very unfortunate, because I think more people who really want to teach should be able to teach and should be able to make a livelihood out of teaching. Teachers are paid well, that's what I've heard, but I think that's not good enough for somebody perhaps, who's done the kind of things that I've done, but teaching is very important. But then television, I've been on TV since I was 20, started off as a teleserial actor, made some documentaries and short films and all, and then got into VJing and presenting shows and doing current affairs programs to political interviews. Long time. I think I can do some of these things in my sleep. That much I've been painting. I was a painter since I was very young, because I loved painting, because I was not the kind of a child who would go out and play a lot with others, but I built a space in my own mind. So, I had my playground in my mind. So I would do all these things in my mind. So, and also I was brought up in Kodagu, which was like, the houses were so distant apart from one another. So even if you wanted, you could not go and play with children in other homes, which were really far away. And normally you were not encouraged so much to play with your, with the children of laborers, because of those class systems and all that. But still, I used to. Sometimes it was such a strict rule, but you were not expected to. So, and the school was almost about 8 kilometers away. So you could not play much too in the school, because you would travel almost for an hour, and like not have much time in the school, and most of the time you used to do things in the class. So I used to paint, I used to write poetry. So when I got into TV and all, that was not very surprising, because I'd already done theater. I did a lot of theater in college. I loved acting a lot. I thought I would become an actor. When I was very young, when I was in third standard, I wanted to be a scientist. In fourth standard, I wanted to be an engineer, then a doctor, then deputy commissioner when I was IAS officer, of course, when I was in seventh standard, because somebody told when I was in seventh standard, the DC was paid 3,000 rupees. And in seventh standard, 3,000 rupees was such a lot of money. And I wanted to earn that money, and not because I was an IAS officer, because you get 3,000 rupees.
And perhaps also that the respect he gets around, right, with a lot of people around him.
Yeah, it's okay, but but I was I was a popular student, so getting
attention
people around and no attention was never a big problem. That has been the thing with me. Like when I was in first standard in my school, people in seventh standard used to come and talk to me, and they all remember me also.
But funnily, you are so comfortable with all the attention, but you are also a very introvert.
Yeah, I am not a socializing kind of a person. I don't like crowds. Sometimes it's very surprising. Like
you're in a line of business which attracts so much of eyeballs, and you don't like it.
No, I don't, because Sometimes people ask me this question that, why I don't go out, why I don't go to parties, why I don't go to public meetings, why I decline invitations. And all those things really don't make me, what do you say, get kicked up about. No, I like the silence of things. I like, as I told you, the playground in my mind. I think there's so much you can do within your mind. You'll not
Is
even
that
explore your. Hmm.
is that what it is? It's more of an element of self-expression that you dabble with poetry, painting,
Yeah,
and
because
also
I
writing.
because my theory about all these things is very simple. Of course, I have, because I'm also a teacher. I told you, and I've been writing uh, articles for a very long time now. I've written a book, and I've conducted a lot of teacher training programs. I basically say that it is not so much about the knowledge from without; it's so much within. And people have still not realized that you don't have to get all your knowledge from outside. You just have to connect to that big, what do you say, cloud of knowledge, which is not exactly the data cloud, but this is like a metaphysical cloud, which you just need to connect to. And I think that just, uh, you know, allows itself to seep into you. Because how did people learn all this? How people know about a lot of things? How, see, and it's all these thought experiments and how people got ideas. How the very concept of the benzene molecule, everything. All these things are very metaphysical, I tell you. So it's like you should be able to see it in your mind first. Einstein saw it in his mind. Most of the theoretical physicists saw it in their mind. After that, they actually put it. Where would you see the cosmos in a lab? Where would you see? That's what somebody recently said, that John, what is Eckbert or somebody was talking about, how could you, find out a God particle with that hadron collider or something like that. Is that what? Okay, and I mean, I think what you can see in your mind, I don't think you'll be able to see it anywhere else. So first, I think we should make our mind fertile and make it full of life. It should be able to germinate ideas. If your mind is infertile, I think that's the problem. Because most of us are very outwardly, because we want everything from outside. Outside is actually very infertile. I think your mind should be fertile. Whatever I know, whatever I've learned, it's basically in silence.
Well, actually, two other things we left out. We'll keep discovering. One other thing is you're also an author, and other one is you're also a motivational speaker. So obviously, I think it would have been
Yeah,
obvious in the
motivational
course of.
speaker, perhaps because a lot of people want me to speak. I mean, all the time. Some people say that you don't speak at all, because I say I've spoken enough. There's nothing much to speak. Even I find it so sad that many people want to motivate. Even wanting to motivate itself shows that there's some kind of a dearth in you, because
I,
you
I
perhaps
read
feel,
your post on LinkedIn on this.
yeah, yeah, you feel that because you feel that maybe you're needed. That's a manifestation of self-doubt, in the sense, if you're good. I mean, I've you know thought and studied about these great teachers. Some of them who taught in silence, like, for instance, Ramana Maharshi, and what do you say, the senior Swami of Kanchi. To so many people,
Well,
they did not have many things to say, but in their silence they communicated. And I think it is so sad that we wait for words to express, words to bring knowledge. I think that is still being a very primitive human being. Of course, words are great. I think words can do miracles,
I
but
mean, it's a bit
what?
odd coming from someone who's almost a wordsmith, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're
yeah, I am. I live. I made a living out of words. So I think that's gross injustice to the fuel to the fuel of my existence. That is words, because that's what I did. I have this boyzone song also in my phone. Words, and words are all I have to take your heart away.
Oh,
Of course,
original is Bee Gees. Original is Bee Gees.
yeah, is it? I am
Yeah.
not good at all that. I write songs, but I don't listen to anybody else's songs because sometimes
Oh,
I feel
yes.
that
You are
if I
also a singer.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
not like a songwriter. You're also a singer.
I have actually sung many songs recently. I'm planning to bring out an album. I'm very seriously into it because these days,
Oh, you
I,
should. And one thing, uh, there will be many people who could be introduced as a TV personality, right? But how many can we actually talk about who's also had prime minister to chief minister to pretty much everybody, anybody who's somebody, and
mm,
uh, and
no, I
also
was
what
just
I
no. That's what I saw today in that small clip I sent you today. I
right,
was so happy to not what Mr. Devagowda said, but the smile on his face. Have you seen that smile before? Like with such a fresh, full-hearted smile. So I'm happy if I could make somebody smile after such a
but
grueling session.
when I saw that, what was actually in my mind? In fact, he was also referring to your smile, but your smile, whatever, every interview I've seen, particularly of the politicians, right? You had that uh, ability to smile and ask a question which could potentially put them in such a fix.
Yeah, because I believe that what you can do in a nice way and get the best out of somebody or most out of somebody, but you have to be aggressive. But you have to offend somebody and not even get it. Some people think that you have to be like, I think it's because like you to remove a thorn, you need a thorn kind of a thing. No, I
No,
think
that a lot of
I
English
think that's
media people shouting, knocking on the
yeah,
table,
because
banging on the table.
they think that if you shout at a politician, you become a big guy. No, people see. Do you know when you become a big guy? If you're able to make them speak, if they confess, if they're true, if they've taken out something which perhaps would have not come out with any coercion, force, insult.
But many did avoid you for the very reason, right? They would,
Yeah, because they thought that I'm I was very I was being very clever in the show, or sometimes like I heard Mrs. Parvathamma telling me that Dr. Rajkumar used to always refer to me as "Hey, Bada Kiladi," look, he's going to but that's how it is. Like, once it was with one politician who, I mean, I didn't know him very well, but he was a very, big politician. He came and sat in the show in front of me, and he was very, very serious in the sense, not even, exchanging pleasantries, because I would always do that. And after the show was over, like, he was very nice to me. So I just thought, I mean, what was wrong? And then he said, look, my wife warned me before I left. If this
you,
guy, wants to put you at ease and things like that, don't get sold to that because that is his technique of, making you feel very comfortable and,
you'll end up
let
saying
your
what you don't
guard
want to say.
down, let your guard down. So the thing is that, don't even have a conversation till the show is over. And after that, I thought, are these things even happening kind of a thing? And there was this politician who was like so upset with me after the show, like because, of course, in a nice way, I got him to answer literally everything. And I think I asked him some very, 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 I won't call them obnoxious, but not offensive, but uncomfortable questions. And in the end, he actually said, I don't think I shall come to the show or something like that. But then after the telecast, he called me. He said, I did such a good thing by coming to your show because nobody knew what I had in my mind. Nobody knew what I thought of things. Nobody knew that, you know, what I had to say about some of these nagging questions. And I myself did not know what exactly was there in my mind then. Because of your questions, I was able to hear myself. And so many other people have been able to hear that too. And he said, thank you. And thereafter, he became such a good friend. And he was the one who actually brought the Chief Minister of Goa and Mr. Anand Sharma and so many other people like
Uh,
that.
uh, is there somebody you always wanted to have them in front of you for interviewing and you could not?
No. I interviewed Sadhguru. The first English
Right.
interview of his was done by me. Yeah. And I didn't even know who Sadhguru was. I was not interested at all because I won't call it an aversion, but I did not want to hobnob with the Swamiji types. So when the channel said like, look, this particular Swamiji would like you to interview him, and they are approaching, and this is the only English show that we are doing in South India. I used to do this English show, right?
Correct. Correct.
Apart from the Kannada one. So I said, look, I mean, I was really averse to it, and the channel had to coax me. And then I said, if I'm going to do it, I'll do it in Mysore. And we took the whole, what do you say, the setup to Mysore, and we did it there. And he just had about some 20-30 people. That's all it is. And on a day, like, when everybody knew that he had visited, 2008 or so, I don't even know when. But then, the show went on well, and he was like, he had done some Tamil or whatever, but, like a show about him.
Those days it was called inner engineering, right? That was the time you.
Yeah, inner engineering was much later, I think. I didn't even know.
Oh,
I asked him
okay.
questions. I asked him, I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about, but he was very polite. And he was just, why are these people behaving like this, that you would walk in those garbs and all. And I was just like those flowing clothes. And so I was just thinking, oh, what is this? Okay, let me just do this job and just go back to Bangalore. That's all that I had in my mind then. Then after the show, I was surprised. I didn't even watch the show. Like I have this, like after I do the show, that I won't even bother to.
Oh,
I never watch my shows. I don't think I've watched even a single show of mine because I think once it is done because you can't correct it. And I normally don't like to edit, and I mean, not like what we have these days. You take some of the best parts and put in the beginning. I was not interested. I just always thought it's your job. It's for somebody else to do something with that after that. So I didn't watch it, and a lot of politicians called me after that saying, "Oh, this man is speaking something. Oh, he has some sense." And some people said, "Can you give me his address? Can we speak to him? I don't know, what do you say? Can we connect him on phone?" And after that, I interviewed him one more time. Then I was invited to Veliangiri uh, in
yeah, Coimbatore.
Coimbatore. I went and spent 3 days there, and I went on a trek with him.
Right. I saw those
We
pictures.
yeah, we play. Like he was so friendly. He was so friendly. But it's nothing about God and Bhairavi Mudra. What do you say, Shambhavi Mudra? Nothing. It was just about economics and science is pure science, and politics, and so many things. It was nothing about his, like what he would do when he went abroad. And that's when there was some magazine, Tehelka. Tehelka had come down to do an
Right.
interview, and he was a little cagey about it. But he spent a lot of time. But I just accepted that, okay, he has his devotees. And they were like very eager to show me, look, this is what we do the samskara after. It was not. And he gave me, he was running this Isha school. Like I was a guest there too. And Prahlad Kakar interviewed me there
Ah,
because his child was studying there. And then I spoke to the students. It was a nice session. The food was very good. And I also went, and there was no Isha statue. Then there was this
right.
Jnanalinga, and they
Adi
made me.
Yogi, they call it, right?
No. Then they had only the Jnanalinga. And I
Right.
said, okay, Jnanalinga. They made me sit, and they said, look at it. Don't you feel anything? I said, I don't feel anything. So I mean, it's not that. Of course, I'm not an agnostic or atheist, but it takes more than that to convince me. But I've always believed God is within you. So anyway, but I I just treated him like any other celebrity, perhaps. That's all.
You
And
are a
then,
spiritually inclined person, right?
yeah,
If I
I
can
am,
say,
but
not
I am,
religious.
but that was spiritual, but that did not connect with me very well. But I liked him as an intellectual.
Hmm.
I liked him as an intellectual, I must tell you. Um, he spoke very well, and I was quite impressed. It was a nice conversation. We didn't do
He's
any
become
interview.
super powerful. Are you still in
Yeah,
touch with him?
we didn't do any interview there. Then after that, and then they were doing these beautiful carvings with stones because he had engaged a lot of these sculptors to carve beautiful things. I have some pictures also. So I just had expressed that, I would like to get one of them or whatever. Then after that, he did. I did one more interview in Palace Ground. They said, Sadhguru wants you to do it, and um, Mrs. Sudhamurthy was there too, and I did the interview. But I asked all kinds of questions, like once again, and some of the devotees were very offended. How could you ask these kinds of questions to our guru? And I said, okay, that's my job. Let me do it. But then, but then, but then the nicest thing is that he had remembered, or maybe he was told about it, and he gave me a nice stone sculpture as a gift.
Ah,
They had brought it because I just mentioned that I would like, like I like those stone sculptures. They said, this is for you because you liked what it's a nice one. I still have it. And then he also gave me that Dhyanalinga thing. It was an amazing. Then I spoke to him 2, 3 times on phone, but after that, every time it was like he was traveling. But then, after about many years, like once I met the Siddhganga Junior Pontiff, and he told me that he met Sadhguru for something, and he was mentioning me, I believe. I said, yeah, he remembers me, kind of thing.
wow.
Yeah, that's okay. But I did not even bother to take a picture with him, apart from those, water sports and all
That
that.
you're hiking and all.
So I've done then there's so many other Swamijis. I've done Siddhganga Swamiji, the only interview that I've ever done by
Yes,
anyone,
yes, I've
an hour
seen.
and a half. It's a good interview. So many people. I always
I think that's
always
got few 100,000 people seen it on YouTube also, right?
no, that's okay. So many people have done that. I interviewed a lot of people. I did the only English interview of Vishnuvardhan, Subramanian Swami. So many people, countless. How many would you do? I don't even remember. Sometimes when people say that I came on your show, in fact, I would just think for a moment, oh, did you? Kind of a thing, touching. I don't even remember who all came on my show because I also did these current affairs shows, those panel discussions, what you
See,
call.
you would have put a lot of
I
people in
I
discomfort in your
interviewed
question.
I interviewed, but never for the purpose of it. Never to deliberately make somebody uncomfortable. No, that's not my purpose because I don't believe in being.
No,
See,
as in asking tough questions, right? I mean, not necessarily
no,
put
it's
them
not
into.
tough question because I feel that's my job. Your job is not to become popular and like have your hands in their pockets. I think
Hmm.
a journalist's job is not to become a star. A journalist's job is to be a journalist. You have to be ready to be unpopular. You should be ready to take the brickbats. You should be ready to be stones at. Otherwise,
Maybe,
why
maybe,
journalism?
maybe, maybe you need to write, if not a
I,
series of
I,
blogs on
no,
that.
I've told this along, but I'm not. See, many people ask me, why don't you write a series about interviews? Of course, I've done more and for a longer time. And I've asked literally everything to everyone, but I don't see. I mean, you're not. See, people want to learn from you. They will learn from you without even you telling them. There are people who come and say that I heard you speak this, and this is what I've corrected in my life. You don't have to really be a motivational speaker or put your things on LinkedIn or somewhere else for people to read and just see how many people read it. And people want to learn, they will learn even without knowing you. You
That's
understand? There
that's
was
true.
there is this very celebrated award winner, international award winner. I don't want to mention his name, but he said he learned to to take seriously about speaking well um, after attending my class in his school. Uh, he told me this when he was already famous. I said, really? In which school? What class? So it's like that. So it doesn't matter. You can't, like, the very sense of how things were in the ancient days, particularly in India. People sculpted, they didn't even leave their name at the bottom of the statues. People wrote such great things. You don't even know anything about them. You understand? They did it because they had to. But what will you do anyway? Like, your name is there, and people will call you back from from heaven or hell, and celebrate you or garland you or something like that. You're here to just do. You got it. Everybody is doing something important. Even a janitor, even a gardener, even a mason, even a
That's
plumber.
true.
Everybody is doing an important work. Why should
Absolutely, yeah.
we start talking about only people who are like writing poetry, or doing interviews, or acting in movies, are doing a greater job? No, I think even an actor, superstar, if its toilet gets clogged, and if he can't find somebody to unclog
That's
it, I'm sure his whole superstardom will disappear in a moment. You got it? So I think
totally.
like everybody is a superstar. I don't think we should take ourselves so seriously. This whole
Well,
idea of fame and greed and money, I think it's very despicable. I don't know. I've always thrown things away. Like people say, "Oh, you have to be, nice to that person, so that person will make you something." I said, "What if I don't want it? What if I don't want power? What if I don't want that kind of money? What if I'm not enthralled by the 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 trappings of a luxurious life?" Uh, there have been times when I was traveling when I would travel in a luxury car, which is worth in excess of some know, 4 or 5 crores, and I would say, look, I'm feeling like puking because I can't stand the smell of this leather or something like that. And people say, "Well, what kind of car should we get you?" So I said, ordinary, Innova. You got it? So I'm like, it's just you can look out, no tinted windows, glasses. So like, you just, I like a simple life. I think that's I've learned by meeting the richest to the poorest, to all kinds of people. I've learned a lot from politicians, I must tell you. Amazing. I think one of the greatest things that I've done with my profession, if I have hobnobbing with politicians, talking to politicians, going to political meetings, understanding politics, there's nothing greater than that. Because how people behave with power, what people do with power, how people get power. Because after all, with all the money, the next step is people want power. So when people have power, how are people with power? How they behave, what they do when they lose power, what are they ready to sacrifice for power, and what do I do if I have some power? That's beautiful. I think I've learned a lot. I nothing can match that learning. I think that's why I get along with
how do you
politicians well.
how do you transition? One side you have this artistic approach to life. One side you have this almost aesthetic approach to life. And the other side, you are an entrepreneur, a businessman who has to run operations and transactions, and then a journalist who's an observer who also has to bring in the right perspective, and not himself but the view and the perspective. How do you and also a political analyst and a political observer. So
Teacher.
these how do you how do you uh, how do you change hats to each of those things? I mean,
Mm,
it's
I write. I write very fast. Now I write very, very fast in the sense. If I have to write an article, if I put my mind, I can write really fast in the sense. I think I just arrange my flow first.
or is it
So
like you switch on, switch off?
no, I sometimes I put my fingers to the keyboard and I just finish and get up. It's like that. I have written a lot of songs, and most of the songs are like you start the song and you finish it. And sometimes My composers are surprised that I get the meter right, but I say the meter is not there. Meter is in your mind, so you should think like that. When I paint, also like I put myself into it completely. I think I can whatever I do, I dedicate myself, even if it's the smallest thing. I I get not I won't call it immersed, like I surrender to that. And that's why I'm able to do it very quickly. So I always end up with a lot of time. I consider myself extremely lazy and somebody who doesn't do anything. Can you believe that? I always tell people, the only thing I tell people when they ask me, what do you do? I say nothing. Recently, I met one very, well-known artist, and he didn't know anything about me. And somebody was introducing me to him, and he was talking all big things about me. And he really thought that guy was pulling my leg, just trying to make a simpleton you know, being joked about. Like he said, "Oh, please spare him. Why you have to do this? Let him be. He's just happy doing whatever little that he's doing." And things like that. So he asked me, "Please tell me what you do." I said, "Nothing." See, don't you understand? He doesn't want to talk about, whatever. Let him be just comfortable. I said, "Yeah, I really want to be comfortable in that little what I'm doing." But then afterwards, he came to know because his cousin came and started talking about me, and he said, "Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so ashamed that I was like showing off in front of him." I said, "No, actually, I do nothing." I said, "Because I don't know. Why do I say that I've done something? If I've done something, it will it will stand the test of time. It's not for me to decide. I think
Who,
we're all tested by time. I
who,
think so."
who, who you think have had maximum influence in your life in shaping the way you are or the way you see things or relate to things in that?
My mother, my mother. Yeah, because I think the values, hard work, commitment, dedication, the values which I can never live up to. Like my mother always said when I was very young, so don't you don't have to get a big job, even if you're just a clerk in a bank, it's okay. But live a dignified, decent life where nobody spits on you because of your purloined, pelf, is what they say, like ill-gotten wealth, or when you cheated somebody, or, you know, I don't want anybody to call me my child a liar or a cheat or a swindler. You should just live a simple life. She said, I would never ask you to bring wealth. Just get a good name for yourself. Whatever little you do. And all the stories she told me, that mattered a lot. So I don't think that, when people say recently one politician, very senior politician was just joking about me, not joking, seriously telling some of his friends, I don't know how many times I've told this guy to join politics. By now he would have become, such a big leader. It was possible he can speak. I mean, a lot of politicians have told me. What a lot of politicians were ready to give me the opportunity to excel, but
Don't you
I
want to?
say, no, but I say that, what would you do as an MLA that you can't do otherwise? I've seen some MLAs who can't do anything at all. Okay, I may be able to do, but for that you need to spend so much money and time, and you can do things otherwise too. Now we have one organization called Samo Shakti, about it. Yesterday, I can send you the pictures. Like about 200 people have gone in a procession, or rather protest march in Vijayanagara district, and complained about illegal mining. I mean, that's one person who just came and met me, uh, and he took that, what do you say, that inspiration further, and he went and built in his village, and he was able to get a lot of people elected to the Gram Panchayat. so many things have happened. But I feel that you should be useful. Like, I think it's in the Upanishad where it is said, like, all people who are born are going to die anyway, but you're born and you're going to die too. But why die simply? Do something and die. You got it? So,
do you
whether
want to... Sorry, go ahead.
What, tell me? No, but I mean, what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is not about making wealth or fame or whatever. There are too many people who are famous, too many people have made wealth, but there are very few people who can make great about having got this opportunity to take birth itself, to be able to experience this life, to be able to walk on this earth and be of use, and your humanity being felt by others. I'm not yet at that position, but I would strive. I'm not going to say that, oh, I've done this, I've done that. I've done nothing. That's my refrain. I always tell I've done nothing.
Well, in the section of personal journey, we also asked, what would you recommend in terms of books, podcasts, or movies for our listeners?
No, I like the Avatar 2 very much. I like.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Though I'm a filmmaker, you didn't mention. Did you mention that I made a feature film?
I did mention, but which film I didn't? So you should.
Yeah, Nine Bari Nine. It's like a full-fledged film.
And you wrote songs for it. You acted in it.
No, I did. No. I was not. It was based on Sonu Nigam songs and produced by Ashok Keni. But
you wrote the song, not that song.
No.
That was not written.
The other thing. No. I directed it, but also I was the executive producer. I learned a lot. I would have loved to make more movies, but with the kind of losing of money, I think I don't have the guts for now till I make a lot of. And losing, that's okay, but it's become a part, because I think I've lost money literally in everything. I did for the first time Bangalore Health Festival, you know about it. Bangalore Health Festival, like the biggest health event, spending crores, and we lost money there too. And we did the only women's shows for a long time. My company has promoted a lot of hospitals for a long time. We were the first ones to do promotion of medical institutions on TV, and also businesses. So many things. But it's okay. Just, I would like to write more. That's what it is. I want to write. I would like to write more. I would like to write more poetry. I would like to paint more. I would like to act more. I would like to teach more. I would like to do some social service. I would like to empower people. I would like to create leaders. Yeah, if somebody else, I want to buy a Ferrari, or or what do you, Aston Martin, whatever. So I don't know. Don't even know that. Sometimes I don't even know which car is what. I tell you, I'm so dull. I think that's for other people to know.
Yeah, that's
it's perhaps for my driver to know. It's not for me to know, which car I need to go in, because wherever it suits, you should. Because you can't take, if you want to go into a forest on a trek on whatever, you can't take your Ferrari, right? So I mean, it's for your driver to decide like what you take. Why break your head about things that don't concern you? So it's like that. So my thing is not about building a palace for myself. Or I've traveled enough. I've traveled a lot because of Battle. I've taught in schools in Slovenia, in Croatia, in a lot of other European countries through Battle. Taught a lot of students from a lot of countries there. Battle is quite active there. Traveled extensively, walked through the villages of Central Europe, stayed in people's homes, done so much. So I think, what more can you ask?
But if you have to change something in what you did, where would you go and change?
there is no possibility of changing. So that's a waste of time to think about. Oh, I should
You
go.
you what you have
If I were to
no
go
regrets?
back and change.
No
No, what?
regrets?
I don't watch my shows. They said once done, done. You can't do. Regret is only going to make you unhappy. You better correct your
Something you
future
couldn't
course.
do, and now you have so much of influence. You could
I
probably go and do it,
no,
change it.
I think I should be so grateful that I have. Maybe I'm not as lucky as people who have, who are, owning Zerodha, or maybe, people who have Grammy Awards or something else, or people who have, gone on to do things on television. But you also look at those millions of people who are not even done as much as I have done. Correct. Perhaps I'm a role model for them. Correct. At least they
Yes.
can look up to. That's okay. People may even think that what has he done? What is after? That's okay. See, for example, battle itself. I think 18 years of hard work. That's okay. So you only if you wait for rewards, recognition, garlands, and those rewards can also be very, very uh, fake. What's it called? Blani, or the word Blani, or whatever. Like I just heard it, where people just praise without meaning it. So it's like that. So
So, do you ever plan to write a biography,
autobiography.
autobiography of you?
No,
Yeah.
no. I think what is there? Who is going to read? Who is interested? It's in the olden days we used to read autobiographies. They'll forget everything by the time they put the book down. These days, I think people don't have enough time to go through their messages on phone. They don't have time to watch the videos that they want to watch. You understand? As if they have interest in knowing how somebody. They just want to live as much as possible, the way they want to, in as little time as possible, and uh, and
No, see, you just did admit, right? You are a role model to a whole lot of people. You do.
if they're not because I say
No,
no.
see, why else people invite you to come and speak to people? You go across the
You should ask those people.
cities, town.
Maybe because also I think some people find me a little too difficult because I speak my mind. Like if somebody calls me to talk about journalism, I would be lambasting the kind of journalism. If I go to a school speaking about education, I lambast education. So if I speak about motivation, perhaps they would say, "What nonsense! You want to be motivated." So maybe you're not the kind like will play to the tune, or rather act according to the tune, or dance to the tune. Sorry, but so it's okay. Maybe no. There are a lot of people, of course. There's respect. I've got a lot of respect. There are a lot of people who shown a lot of respect. I think I don't. Let me just count the blessings. Let me not worry about the detractors and the people who want to
Yeah,
find fault.
even in that sense.
They'll all grow up one day, and they'll all grow up one day. You understand? So if intelligence is maturity, everybody is mature. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You understand? You
Yeah,
for,
true. People
for a
get
per,
old, but they don't get mature.
for a person to be mature, he need not even be so intelligent. He just needs to be sensitive and has to have some worldly wisdom. That's what it is.
True, uh, and so you don't really want to make any recommendations. I did ask you earlier. You were
I've read. Can you believe it? I've read so few books, and I'm such a slow. I write extremely fast. I read extremely. I slowly. I take years to finish books.
seriously.
Nobody believes this. Sometimes I read about 3, 4 books, and maybe I'm reading the same books for 5 years now. Nobody can believe it that I'm not so well read. It is, in fact, I was so offended. Like, I have some books, and somebody came and asked, and my mother told them, those are the books that he's read. I said, where have you seen me? Because they will think that, whatever that I know is because of those books. But I said, no, I don't read books because I can't read books. Do you know what happens? I read the book and I find a word and I have to go and find out what that word is about, why that word was used in that context, how else that word can be used, where else did I hear that word, why that word came in here, why did that man think of putting that word here. And sometimes I get so tired after all that thinking, I keep it aside. Like I read about something about Einstein and what happened in his school. That book I'm reading. Okay. So then I think, oh, this is what happened to me in my school. Isn't this what my teacher told? If he felt that in the 1920s or 1910 or something like that, how it must have been then. But he went to this school in Switzerland where they actually did practical education. Why was it not possible for us to do it in India or in some other schools still almost in the 1970s or 80s? This is how I start thinking. So I can't go ahead. And then I just get too tired and keep that book aside. If the book is too heavy, then I pick up some other book. Then I get worked up about that book too. Then by the time I go back to this book, I'd have forgotten most of it. So I should start from the beginning. So there are these 5 books I've been reading for the past 5 years. There's one book I've been reading for 7 years, and I've not even gone beyond 25%. I don't
recently,
read.
I've moved to listening to books.
No, I can't.
My reading has come down. You
don't
tried it?
No, I don't have the patience. I tried because I feel that then I would feel that maybe the intonation is wrong. Maybe that line needn't have been expressed like that. Maybe the tone is wrong. Maybe the tone is too European. Maybe how would it be if at all he or she said it in Indian context? How would the intonation be? And exactly is it that he gets what the author meant? It's with some of the older, because no author would have gone and told that, this is exactly the tone, because question mark, but what is the tempo? What is the tone? What is the intonation? What is the diction? You understand? So I would find it more difficult. So I would not. And I don't watch TV. And I don't watch TV at all. I watch. Oh, some people say that, your TV is on. Yeah, I've been watching some YouTube, basically because I love to watch some song videos, because I love music. So I watch song videos, and not because of that, just to see that, why, the video is not at all, matching the song and things like that. Sometimes it's a battle for me. But
your analytical mind takes over everywhere.
But what I love the most is to sit and watch. I like observing. I think I've learned from observing. I've learned from watching what perhaps I've not learned from anything. Like Einstein said, tell me what God had in his mind, the rest are details. Said, I want to know the thought. And the thought. If the teacher is teaching, what thought she has. So that's the same thing. Even if somebody kills somebody, what is the thought? Not that the action is just details. Anybody can, but the thought is important. So even perhaps I've been able to do well in politics, as a political interviewer, analyst, is because I try to understand what is behind. Why does somebody feel like that? Why does a politician think like that? Why is he so aggressive? Why is he so venomous? Why is he so aggressive? Why is he so, what do you say, disturbed? Why is he so vengeful? Then everything falls in place. So I think our purpose should be to understand the thought.
Well, there was a book I recently completed by Stefan Zweig, as a German author who died around 1942 or something. Tragic, he committed suicide. But his book was an autobiography of a European. He was a very famous writer. He has written. I've not read any of his books, only this book. And he says that every time he wrote a book, he would write 1,000 pages, and he would tear off about 700 pages. And he would be very happy every time he would cut down a page or even scratch a word. So it was his personal challenge to shrink it. He doesn't want to take even one single letter or a word which is not required there. So, I just remembered while you were saying that you get so analytical about it. I think probably that makes you a great writer. I think.
No,
Uh,
I love writing a lot of. I've written a lot of articles, a lot of stories, and the person who was editing for me, he was telling me that I would be doing a great disservice by not bringing those books, but I'm not into that thing about going and looking for a publisher, and it's okay. Like Kafka, and so many people they were published after their death, so why do you say when Karl Marx wrote Das Kapital and also the other book, what do you say? Both books, they didn't even sell, number of copies that would even impress a self-published author who has written nonsense. But what happened one day, like literally everybody got those books. Everybody bought perhaps. So I don't, some books are not destined to be published during the author's lifetime, perhaps. Who knows? So I written,
Perhaps, but you
I've,
should give it a shot. You should.
no,
You.
it's okay, yeah, but see, I tell you, there are a lot of things I have to do a lot with Battle. I want to do a lot of political empowerment, which I really love to do. I plan to, start a journey, like, I want to go to a lot of villages and talk to people. I want to, take up issues. I want to make them live a life of life in a human society, like not always browbeaten, always told you can't do this, you can't do that. Because I think we've fundamentally not understood what democracy is, what a republic is, and what a human society is. I think we ultimately give too much power in the to the hands of people who are unfortunately for us absolutely unqualified to have anything. But they have the power because the people who perhaps should be having the power. Power doesn't mean that educated. I don't even understand the word at all. I'm talking about people who have the right sensitivity, people who understand the dignity of other human beings, the dignity to be able to protest, to dissent, to have a choice, to think differently, and to be able to not even want to live, because I think only human beings can die for what they believe.
True. Yeah, I
Right?
guess.
So I think I want to do all those things. I want. See, I don't want to live for others. I want to live. I want to judge myself. I'm not the perfect person. I'm not the epitome of goodness, rectitude, moral, what do you say, embodiment of morality. No, I made my mistakes. I could be flawed. I am not perfect, but I judge myself. I judge everything I do. I'm such a critic. I literally punish myself when I do something that's not good enough.
So you are a perfectionist. You don't like it if you.
I won't call it a perfectionist. I feel I have a duty to be correct, at least try to be correct. And in the process, I keep finding out how wrong I am.
Well, uh, you know, thank you so much for sharing your personal journey. And this is almost like like
No, for
a
example,
lie.
you know me for a very, very long time. I don't think personally I've changed, have I? I think you know me from the time I was doing TV. I was for how long? A very long time. I think I've been the same. It's like nothing. I don't have these, maybe I've 20 years of more serious political things to whatever. I think some of my classmates say from school that I was like this when I was in school. Perhaps spoke like this, thought like this, behaved like this. So nothing different. You know what? Nothing. I think even if tomorrow I do anything bigger also, I think I would still be the same.
So even if you're a politician
I
representing
would, I would, I
not
would have
necessarily
loved.
an MLA as a member of a member of
I would,
parliament.
I would really love to start a political movement. I think there is a good opportunity and space for it. I would really like to. A lot of people tell me, what's the use of just talking? Just do.
Can, can, do you
But
want to continue on this line? Can I ask you a few more questions on this line?
Yeah, please. But as you know, that I have a meeting to run to. Maybe we
Yeah,
can always do one more show, but
we
let's
have to do
let
one more. So you
let
have
let
another
let
5 minutes.
let's see if your viewers are not bored. If they would like to see one more show, we can always do it. Tell me.
Oh, yes, we have to do that. But yes, see, there are a few new political movements have started, right, in
Mm.
Karnataka. You know, I'm talking about one is KRS and the other one is Uttama Prajakya.
Mm.
So, what's your take on this? Why do you think you want to do one more and instead of why not support one of these guys?
Mr. Ravi Krishna Reddy's
Yeah,
political effort is very sincere. There's no question about it, and I think he's really, striving so much to
right.
drive the point across. But the big problem is that if your political, whole agenda is dependent upon one main thing, that is anti-corruption, I don't think it really works, because I think we are living, unfortunately, in a very, morally
Or
and
is it possibly, he
and
saw AAP's success around that and probably thinks the same thing may work here?
no, but see, he is actually, I think there's no question about his sincerity and honesty,
No, completely. Yeah.
but the thing is that people don't understand those things at all. For instance, when Congress says 40%, many people have asked me, what is this 40% all about? Because ordinary people, maybe just for amusement, they talk about these crores and all that, but they don't understand all that. They just are worried about, the water, the road, the fees that they have to pay for their children's education, the difficulties they have in getting treatment in hospitals, how much money they have to spend on these health tests, and some electricity problem to their travel needs, and maybe if they have to have a wedding at home. There's very few things that they ask. They're only bothered about that. And we have kept them like that for a long time. I think that's the same thing about, when I was reading about, or rather watching about, uh, homeless people in the US. I mean, what more can you ask in India? Like, it's pathetic in a lot of countries.
Correct.
It's no better. And even politics, I mean, as if the American politics is so good. And what examples we have? We compare India with a population of like 135 crores with some, what do you say, in terms of demographically insignificant nations like Singapore. You can never make
Yeah,
India
Bangalore's
the whole,
population is more than Singapore's.
because you don't have such a small population which you can hold a stick and threaten and get to behave. Like by the time, like some politician was telling, like by the time you keep doing here, and by the time you go there, and you keep doing here, and by the time you go there, whatever you've done here is rotten. So you have to come back, and by the time you come here, whatever you've done there is rotten. So most politicians just don't want to do anything. But to think that most politicians are just corrupt, they don't have any interest, that's very wrong. Uh, Maybe they don't know how to do it. But then why people who don't know how to do it are in politics? It's because it's a dirty game in the sense if you have to build something, you have to dirty your hands. So if you want to build a society, if you have to build a nation, you have to dirty your hands. All our kind of hoity-toity people can't dirty our hands. We want somebody else to dirty their hands. We want somebody else to fight the nation's cause. We want to just sit and give advice about how the nation has to be built, how it should be squeaky
Oh,
clean.
I want
We
your take on
we don't want to go and
Bajakia as well.
we don't want to go and take the battle to the streets. If somebody just throws a stone at us, we'll cry. You understand? But these politicians are ready for everything. I've seen some of these very rich politicians, like they going into slums and they being hugged by people who are literally, like unwashed, but they're okay about it. But you know, what right do we have to question them when we are not ready for that? We want them to be like us. If they become like us, they won't win. They won't be able to go to the slums. They won't be able to walk across those dirty drains. Prajakiya's another problem is that, Mr. Upendra is an intelligent man, but once again, him talking about, doing politics without money. That's impossible because it's not just about giving money to people. You need money to at least, take care of the expenses. See, I was just traveling with one of the politicians recently, and like the number of people who need to be fed, at least a simple meal, their travel expenses, their stay expenses, some publicity expenses, you need money. And the people who really have the verb, the zest, they don't have the money. So somebody has to provide. So to ask somebody who has the money or the man who has started the movement has to give. What you do, like, people can't have great philosophies, ideologies with an empty stomach. That's what Vivekananda said. Okay, you can't. So first you need to look at, giving the basic needs of like provide. Otherwise, only rich people can come. That's why a lot of rich people end up in politics. They can spend.
But that's the limitation, right? If you take money from some people, then you are bound to,
Yeah,
you're expected
you
to align to
can't.
them.
No, that's common sense. So I don't think that, see, there's nothing much to this. It just sounds nice on TV. Practically, it's impossible. And people will have their own problems. It's almost like you're employing them. If you employ them, if you keep them always,
You've got to pay them.
you need to take care of them. Even if you have about 20 people working for you, and even if you give them 30,000 a month, that's a lot of money. And I will do politics without money. Okay, you say I'll do it with clean money. That's a different matter. But if you say I don't, and no, I don't know. Maybe that's very utopian. Maybe it works in films. That's all that I can say. But I feel Mr. Bhupendra is an intelligent man. He's a very nice person. I'm sure in his heart he wants to do something good. But it doesn't work like that. You should be very practical. That doesn't mean that it's very difficult to beat the corrupt system. It's going to take a long time. It can only be done with a movement. It can't be done with just
So
one
a
person.
movement leading up to a party?
Could be, could be, could be. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything is possible, but it needs a lot of courage. I have always said, if you're afraid of going to jail, you should not be in the public space.
Right.
Like even with Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I think you should not be afraid of going to jail. You'll become a bigger leader because, you should be able to lose to gain. People have been banished. Lenin was banished. People were like, put in jail for years together. All those people who made differences, even Mr. Modi, what kind of, bombardment on his personality took. Maybe he didn't go to jail or get beaten or something, but that's okay. But he was subjected to so much of pressure. But nobody can expect to be in politics by just wanting it to be a bed of roses. So, do we
So we
conclude?
can look at 5 years from now for you to get started with your party, starting with a
Could
movement
be,
anytime now.
could be. Let us see how many people will join. Anyway, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I
Wish you
we
the
would
best
also
for your podcast.
thank you.
Really, you're doing something. You said you're doing it for the love of it. That's nice, amazing, and people should do. But at least this is like it's like a sensible thing in the sense, instead of talking about what what happens to you at 3:30 in the morning, what is your energy level, what vibrations you get. Like it actually sometimes sounds very vulgar. Okay.
Thank you. We have the
Thank,
link to reach out and follow Deepak
okay.
Thimaya,
Okay.
and all of you who got a sense of what makes him what he is and what he does, please
I
follow
wish
this.
I'm so
And
sorry if I made some very unpleasant remarks or if I was not good enough. I'm sorry.
no, it's
I
perfect. But only
apologize.
thing is, I need you to promise to come back because we need to
Okay.
talk about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Take care. All the
Thank you
best.
once again.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.